Many instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past. Whatever they are, whatever you call them, ghosts, spirits, shades, specters, apparitions, there is not a corner of the world they do not inhabit.
I'm coming through.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dangerous Podcast, where we talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
If we can haunt, howl, or dwell in the dark, we want to talk about it. And tonight, we're pulling back the veil. We're going for a trek into the woods, seeing if we can find some ghost lights, Jay.
Oh, not just the woods, man. These things, ghost lights, baby. One of my favorites.
One of your favies. Rumor has it you could talk about these all day.
I could do this all day.
All right,
I
Cap.
could Steve Rogers the shit out of this.
Nice.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I called you Cap, so.
I'm into it.
Right.
I called you the terrorist from the end of
Yeah,
the
we're going to
Jackass
bring that
movie.
up again.
You okay? Do you see a body hanging?
No, I don't. Not for that. Not for that. But before we get
That
into
cut
ghosts,
deep, huh?
yeah, it did. It did. I was like really proud of that cut. Anyway,
You should be. It was a good one.
yeah, sure. Thanks, man.
Wow.
Before we get into ghost lights, I will be bringing you tonight's jump scare. All right, so this one comes to us from Dave from let's say Levittown area.
Almost got a house there.
Yeah, right. That'd be nice. Well,
I'll just go fuck myself.
Levittown, Bristol area. Dave writes, while believing in ghosts and the paranormal, I've never really had any experiences, except for once when I was very young. My extended family owns a lodge in far upstate New York near the Canadian border, on Lion Mountain, right off Chazy Lake. There's a Chazy Lake. Chazy Lake?
Spell it.
Chazy.
I don't know, man.
Chazy Lake. The area has history of coal mining, which my great-grandfather worked in as a miner. It's already palpable, you know? The lodge was built on property that used to belong to the mining company after my great-grandfather bought a plot of land off the mining company when they were done with the land. As with many old mining areas, there are always stories about all the miners who lost their lives in the dangerous conditions. And, as a kid, when at the lodge, we were always told about the stories. Ghost stories, paranormal encounters, and others had on the mountain. One particular story was how late at night, on the road, you could see this ghostly headlamp of a miner who had died in the mine. So one late night, my cousin and I decided to go up to the road and walk down it, seeing if we could find the floating headlamp. Being much younger than my cousins, I tagged along and hung near the back of the group. Booch got in the back. The walk was uneventful, everyone trying to spook each other out. It wasn't long before my older cousin left me behind, and after about 5 minutes trying to catch up, I saw something. Down the mountain road far ahead through the trees, I spotted a light peeking through. I was froze as I watched the light in the distance bobbing up and down like the head of a person walking along the mountain. After watching and feeling like the light was moving towards me, I quickly ran and rushed back to the lodge. My cousins claimed it wasn't them just trying to scare me. Was it just another person walking with a flashlight or the porch light of another house through the forest, or just my child imagination? I don't know, since I wasn't staying to check out, but that is the closest thing to a paranormal encounter that I have ever had.
That's
Dave.
not a close thing, Dave. That's a paranormal encounter.
Thank you, Dave. And I got to tell you, I've been on this motherfucker to send this for like forever, and he finally did, because I was like,
thanks, buddy.
Dave, thank you. I was like, we're doing a Ghost Lights episode, Dave. And it was funny because we were supposed to do it last time.
Yeah.
And he had it for last time. So, but now Dave, great story. Great job telling it.
Mm-hmm. I dig it.
It was good, man. It was very good. Leads right into what we're going into tonight, man.
Absolutely. I mean, ghost lights are probably, one of the oldest recorded forms of, paranormal activity that there is. I mean, it's right up there with poltergeists. I mean, ghostly lights being seen places are, as old as mankind. I mean, they've been described as like, ghosts, fairies, aliens, car headlights. No, so we had to pull this up because this is a topic because there's so many like subtopics that fall under ghost lights that it's like, well, make this as the main topic and then just talk about some of the ones underneath it. But for the definition sake, a ghost light are lights or fires sometimes that appear in the atmosphere without an obvious cause. Examples include the onibi, the hitodama, and the will-o'-the-wisp. Those are both, they are often seen in humid climates. Interesting, but not always. According to legends, some lights are wandering spirits of the dead, the work of devils or yokai, or the pranks of fairies. The silly sons of bitches. They are feared by some people as a portent of death. In other parts of the world, they are folk beliefs that supernatural fires appear where treasure is buried.
Like that. Yeah, that
appears in the Dracula novel. Right at the beginning. You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
When you see the rings of blue flame? That's what that's supposed to be.
Ah.
It's in the novel, too. Because
nice.
at night, there's blue flames apparently would appear where anyone had buried treasure because the demons and devils know where all the treasure is. Interesting, right?
Right.
Anyway. These fires are said to be the spirits of the treasure. Interesting. Spirits of the treasure. Or the spirits of humans buried with grave goods. Atmospheric ghost lights are also sometimes thought to be related to UFOs. UAPs. Some ghost lights, such as St. Elmo's Fire or the Shiranui,
St. Elmo's Fire,
have been explained as optical phenomenon or light emitted through electrical activity. Other types may be due to combustion or of flammable gases. Ball lightning, which got to come back to ball lightning because that seems to be like I've never seen even a video of it.
Right, but when you just say it like that, like ball lightning, a whole different thing just goes into my head.
And with good cause.
Yeah.
Meteors, torches, and other human-made fires. The misperception of human objects and pranks. Almost all such fires have received such naturalistic explanations. All right, so that doesn't really tell us too much. That's just like a kind of like a blanket kind of thing. But
sure,
there are so many examples of ghost lights that we're just going to have to kind of hit the high points.
Right. I mean, I could right now just read you a list of the names if we want. So, even if you go to Wikipedia, go to ghost lights, right? They'll go, ghost light or ghost light may refer to atmospheric ghost lights, Alea ghost lights, Brown Mountain lights, Cahoke lights, Shirbati, Hasendalin lights, Light of Saratoga, Marco light, Marfa lights, Min light, Nega fireball, Paulding light, the Spook light, St. Elmo's Fire, St. Louis light, Will-o'-the-Wisp, ghost lights. There's so many. You just run down and we could pick the ones from the top, but this is just a thing, man. It is. It's a beefy topic.
And I wanted to get to this because this, it's not me personally, but growing up, my dad used to tell me the story of a ghost light that he and my Uncle Gary encountered in their bedroom on a few occasions. It was just literally they'd be laying in bed and a green ball of light would come out of one wall and then just dissipate into the other. He said it happened like 5 or 6 times. They were shit scared, but it didn't hurt them. It just happened. He's like, they just happened. It was green. He was like, it was a green ball of light. Amongst the other things that happened there.
For another day, my friend.
For another day.
Was there anyone with like a really bad werewolf costume there? Did that ever?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's somebody with a really good werewolf costume who clearly wasn't, secure in his abilities or something. Yeah, sure.
Cut this.
Cut this?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking. No, leave it in.
Of course. Right. So he told me that growing up, and I was like, that one of the many things that freaked me out as a child with, and that was one of the ones because it was like, oh, personal story. So it was like, okay, well, those things happen then, because when you're a kid and you hear that, you're just like,
it's deep back there in your subconscious. It's still one of the things that keeps you interested in it.
So whenever I'd hear stories like that, I was like, oh, that's like, what is that? Because there's a famous one in New Jersey. It's called the Hooker Man Ghost. and
I'm
it's
familiar.
it's the ghost of so it happens along train tracks, and New Jersey is crisscrossed with train tracks, and specifically there's one area in the Pine Barrens.
Lousy with
It's
train
lousy
tracks.
with them. It's fucking lousy with them. There's one particular area. It's in the Pine Barrens, and so the hooker man was somebody that would they would, if there was an issue or something, they would make sure that there was that the coupling was secure on the train, and then also sometimes there would be a train would be coming, there'd be a hook that was out and it would have like mail bag or something that would get, he would take care of all these things. So and so sometimes if they have to stop, he'd be the guy to come out. He'd have his lantern and he would check all the things. So this ghostly phenomenon is called the hooker man because it looks like the lantern of a guy walking
Much like
down
a headlamp walking. Yeah.
same motion.
Yeah.
And it's famous. And I heard that story for years. I was like, what is that? Because you know your brain kind of like swirls because you're like, all right, so is that a natural phenomenon? Because you're like, all right, is it going along the tracks because is there some kind of like static electricity or something because of the metal of the tracks, or is it just the ghost of Joe the hooker man who take this job and shove it every day, and he just turned into a
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's funny. Before we get into the deep of it, so every time there's like a severe thunderstorm at my apartment, right? And Brittany didn't believe me at first.
Yeah.
So there was this crazy tornado that passed by. So it tore out the car lot. It passed right between me and Rob's neighborhoods.
Oh, wow.
Like right between us. Like we were both like, "Yo, you good? Yo, you good?" And like, yeah, we were fine. But my wife. Her store closed down, so she was on her way home. One of her coworkers was like, "I'll drop you off. Don't make Ken come out. Blah blah blah. It's on my way." By the back door, when these crazy storms happen, dude, like an arc of electricity.
Oh, yeah.
At my back door,
Sure.
goes, and you see it.
Oh yeah.
And like she was like, "What?" I was like, "It happened twice." I was
Yeah.
watching the Phils. They were
Yeah.
on the TV. No, but I was like. No, I was like waiting for you to get home, and it happened, and it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting electric to go out. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So then finally, again, during a bad storm, she was there with me. It happened like 7 times. And it was just electricity from the outside arcing with the door frame out back because we're like kind of like underground. It's weird how our setup is. You've been there.
Yeah.
But at the back door, something with the setup causes this electric shock in the middle of like the back door room.
No, I mean that's one of those phenomenons that occur when like you have a bad storm like that. I've heard that occurring. Like you could have surges that occur, and then when a power surge happens, you could have weird shit that happens. Like electricity can jump, from apparently it can jump from appliances.
Right, and that's the thing. Like it's just like in the middle of the doorway where it comes, and like. So it's not like a solidified thing, like a moving thing. It's this arc and this, and you're like, it's the weather. It's not like a ghost. But like when a lot of people do the explaining it away to like weather, it's like I've seen weather cause some really weird electrical shit.
It has
different.
a randomness to it, and it has like there's no sphere. It's just and it doesn't have that rhythmic motion.
It doesn't
to
glow. It doesn't stick around.
It's a pzzz, like lightning. It has the same kind of It's quick. It's a discharge of those
because the energy's so charged. It's hitting the humidity in the air. It's hitting the back door and the metal's there, and there's a lightning strike, and it's just causing whatever build up static in the carpet could be stuff like that.
Sure. No, it's wacky shit, and I could see how whenever any of these ghost lights are reported anywhere or they've seen, people go right for that kind of stuff because like, oh well, it's just the atmosphere discharges naturally electricity all the time, so we can't say that it's ghost. It's like, well, fine, but what about when it's at places where it happens in the same area all the time? So, such as our first selection here. You may or may not heard of this location. I heard about this a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, shit. The Brown Mountain Lights.
I've heard about it before.
Yeah, this one's in North Carolina. These are purported ghost lights. The earliest published references to these strange lights are from around 1910, okay? At about the same time, electric lighting was becoming widespread in the area. All right. In 1922, a scientist, George Mansfield, used a map and a Adelaide telescope to prove that the lights were being seen where trains, car headlights, and brush fires, which ended widespread public concern. With the original sightings of the early 20th century having been explained, storytellers have been creating imaginary pre-electrification histories of lights ever since, and the nature of claimed encounters with the lights appear to have changed over the years to suit changing cultural expectations. You get that all the time, okay? So basically what they're saying is that, oh, the first guy saw this, but this guy set up this telescope and he was saying that, you know, oh, well, I can prove that it's coming from a train area, but they still see them today, and it's like every night. Like there's certain places, so it's this particular area called, I think it's called Table Rock. And this is a popular like rock climbing area in North Carolina. Has like a parking area or whatever. And this is people sit in this parking area and they look, and that's where you can actually see, like, it looks like people with lights walking. But it's not, it's like, there's not a trail there. And the way that it moves, it's not cars. There's no cars up there.
Yeah.
There's no trains don't run through there anymore. And it's one of these things where like people, it's like, yeah, you go up there a certain time of night, you're going to see it.
Sounds like it's one of those guys that they're like, go up there and come up with some scientific-y shit to like stop the panic or the joke. Because we were scientific people, you know. We don't believe in this hoo-ha.
Yeah.
This superstitious hoo-ha.
Yep. And that's the funny thing, because like the Appalachian State University, they installed 2 low light cameras on rooftops that overlook Brown Mountain and Linville Gorge, which is the gorge right next to the mountain.
Right.
And by 2014, these cameras had produced 63,000 viewing hours worth of data without any unexplained lights being recorded. Right. But people claim to see them and take video. You can go on YouTube right now, look up Brown Mountain lights. Yeah. You'll have, boom, like 100 videos of people. What is that? So there's even a bluegrass song, Brown Mountain Lights by Scotty Wiseman.
And Scotty Wiseman doesn't lie.
Nope. And according to the folklore belief there is that that the light is being carried by a faithful old slave come back from the grave. Yikes. Who's searching for his lost master.
Yeah, faithful is the word that I would use, yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's back to... He's not searching for his old master because he's faithful.
Yeah.
If anything, it's...
Yeah, maybe he's coming back to...
Django the shit out of that motherfucker.
Yeah, seriously. The D is silent, hillbilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. So that was like, okay. I was like, oh, wait, I forgot what state we're in.
Yeah, it's tough. When we travel, we instantaneous transmission to these places when we discuss them and we forget we're there.
Right. And then also, Right. There's, it actually kind of stinks because we were just down in North Carolina this past winter, and we were actually very close to here. I wish I knew. But, you know, all I would have been seeing was headlights or something, apparently.
There were oncoming trains and...
I don't know. I really like this one because this is one of those ones that's like, it's been like, you know, it's been like steeped in the traditions of the people here for a long time.
Right.
And then also, you know, has also been explained as, you know, people being abducted by aliens.
Hey, man, Congress.
They do what they do, you know?
They're talking about it.
All right, so next on the list of famous ghost lights, we have the Marfa lights. Now this is actually the first one I ever heard of. And this is, so the first historical record of the Marfa lights was in 1883. This is in Texas, by a young cowhand, Robert Reed Ellison, of course. He saw a flickering light while he was driving cattle through Paisano Pass and wondered if it was the campfire.
Paisano!
Yeah.
Gabagool Pass.
I was going to say, he was driving cattle through Paisano Pass and wondered if it was just a pile of gabagool.
Yeah.
Glinting in the sunlight.
That's where they throw the gabagool. They're like, what what is fucking Paisano?
Yeah, so this guy's out there. He sees this flickering. He just thought it was a campfire of the Apaches who were out there. Other settlers told him that they often saw the lights, but that when they investigated, they found no ashes or other evidence of a campsite. Joe and Ann Humphreys next reported seeing the lights in 1885. Both stories appear in Cecilia Thompson's book, History of Marfa and Presidio County, Texas, 1535 to 1946, which was published in 1985. The first published account of the lights appeared in the July 1957 issue of Coronet magazine, and in 1976, Elton Miles' Tales of the Big Bend included stories dating to the 19th century and a photograph of the Marfa lights by a local rancher.
Tales of the Big Ben. That's like Americana, man. I love that.
Yeah. In the book, it lists 34 Marfa Lights sightings from 1945 through to 2008. Monitoring stations were put in place starting in 2003. He has identified an average of 9.5 MLS on 5.25 nights per year. I don't know what that means, but believes that the monitoring
MLS,
stations... I don't know. I actually don't know what that means.
Kidding.
He believes that the monitoring stations may only be finding half of the Marfa Lights in Mitchell Flat. So this is, this is like world famous. I mean, this is the one.
Well, right. Ghost lights and Marfa lights are like synonymous. It's like that's how I've always heard them come together.
I mean, there's a sightings episode, I believe, and I also think there's a Unsolved Mysteries. I think there's one.
Yeah.
We will drop in some clips.
Right.
1883, the plains of central Texas near the town of Marfa. 100 years ago, cattle by the thousands were herded by cowboys across this arid country. One evening, during a roundup, a cowhand named Robert Ellison noticed a strange glow off in the distance.
Could be Apaches.
Yeah, it looks like Apache campfire. Let's go on away.
He saw a ghostly light shimmering in the darkness. It appeared to be a few miles away, and it hovered just a few feet above the ground.
They thought there were probably a campfire, Indians or other travelers, but they just kept seeing them. The next night they were there, and the next night, and the next week and year, and I'm sure they began to wonder what on earth were those lights.
In 1916, Hallie Stillwell was 18 years old when she witnessed the same phenomenon.
We had decided to come to Marfa to attend to a little business. We were just visiting and talking, and all of a sudden we saw lights over on the Shenandoah Mountains.
Look, Hallie.
It couldn't be any kind of car lights, and we first thought probably it was a campfire of Indians or Mexicans or ranchers, but it didn't act like a campfire at all.
Do you think they're campfires? It can't be a fire, it's moving.
They were peculiar, and I'd never seen anything like them before. And of course, none of us knew anything about it. We were not scientists or anything like that. So we said, well, it couldn't be anything but a ghost. It's just ghost lights. And from then on, we mentioned them as ghost lights.
In 1943, the mysterious lights were seen again near Marfa's Army Air Base.
He won't be back for at least 30 minutes.
When we saw the Marfa lights the first time, there was no vehicular traffic at night. Fuel was rationed. Lights were a phenomena in themselves in those days because there were no lights.
Been a while.
When the moon is out, it's beautiful. When the moon is not out, it's so dark, it's awesome.
What's that?
We saw something that was totally foreign to anything in and around the airbase. When we did see the lights, we were very curious, and we inquired in the village of Marfa about these strange things, and yeah, sure, we've got little lights, so what else?
Over the years, explanations for these mysterious lights have ranged from ball lightning to St. Elmo's fire to jackrabbits with glowworms attached to their tails. Native superstition even has it that the lights are the ghost of an Apache chief who refuses to give up his desert home. The lights have been continually seen near the small town of Marfa, but surprisingly, the witnesses aren't frightened of these ghost lights. In fact, most seem to regard them with affection.
I know they exist. I've seen them several times.
2 of the 4 of us saw the lights. 2 did not, and we were looking in exactly the same spot. Now, I can't explain that.
I know they're there, there's no doubt about it. Some nights I see them better than other nights, though.
When I was a child, of course, you have a lot of childlike curiosity, and my first thing was, I want to find out what those are. I mean, this is my Loch Ness monster. I'm going to catch it and find out what it is. And so I just, from that moment on, decided I was going to try to solve the mystery.
Looks like we need to head southeast toward the Shanatis.
A few years ago, my brother and I got the idea that the reason no one had ever gotten close to the lights was because they were using motor vehicles, like airplanes or jeeps or cars. So we thought if we took out on foot across the desert, we could sneak up on them. So we got our gear together in a camera and just took out walking across the desert and tried for about 4 hours to walk up close to them. And we never could get real close to them. It was almost like a mirage. It just kept moving a little further and further away from you. So it's almost like they knew what we were doing and were just going to tease us and stay a little bit ahead of us. But distance is so deceiving out here, we couldn't tell if we were looking at a light as big as a tire or if we were seeing a light as big as just a cantaloupe. And so we couldn't get close enough to really get a good idea of how big they were.
The point is there's a horse.
In July of 1989, we asked 3 scientists from a local observatory and university to conduct a formal investigation into the lights. One investigator was a professor of chemistry, another a geologist, and the third an astronomer.
I wonder if we're not pushing just troughs of hot air up
Yes,
on either
exactly.
side of Chenati down here. And there's
With
the
them
gap.
were 11 other technicians and observers.
Almost. Actually, you're calling it 3, is that correct?
The lights have been seen near the Shinati mountain range. A radio beacon is also visible in front of the peaks. A highway winds its way through these mountains, and in order to prevent the misidentification of headlights, 2 marker lights were placed at the borders of the road. If any lights are spotted outside these markers, and scientists cannot explain their source, then investigators can be certain that they are observing the ghostly phenomenon.
Well, there was a light right on the horizon. We have position 1.
The investigators are using special nighttime viewing equipment.
I don't know whether that was.
They are approaching the beacon now.
In this instance, the camera films 2 headlights moving slowly from left to right, past the radio beacon light.
Be off this. There's no question that looking at this stuff, which ones are the cars and which the lights are. Right back.
At 11:59 p.m., an unknown light appears.
Doctor, look up there on the hill. To the right of marker 3.
I see it. It's off to the right. It's about the same distance.
The camera pans past the radio
Center
beacon.
light is from 3.
Unit 3, can you verify if you have any traffic lights off to the west or northwest?
I do not see any
It
lights.
continues past the right marker light.
Yes.
In the middle of an empty plain,
Appears to be brighter.
a ghostly glow can be seen. A video camera also recorded the same light.
You see it's
Can you
getting better?
verify the light we're seeing off to the west?
Observers were certain that the light did not come from a man-made source.
It's beginning to fade, isn't it?
It's gone way down.
Yeah.
It's gone completely out now.
It's almost like it imploded.
Negative, we do not have any lights.
Thank you. Unit 1, could you also verify that?
Here it comes.
It comes. Here it comes. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's coming back just as bright as it was before. Same place.
It's beginning to fade out again. There it goes.
It's extremely bright, though, when he was showing there.
What was it that the cameras recorded?
We know the lights are there. We know it is something of natural origin. It is not man-made. Now the next question is, how do you explain them?
There is something in addition to car lights. People are seeing real activity in the atmosphere.
One scientist thought the lights might be refracted starlight, another luminous gases produced by small earthquakes, but they are not sure, and all they could say for certain is that it was a natural phenomenon as yet unexplained by science.
Hey, what's that over there?
I don't know.
Most of the people in Marfa who've grown up and lived with the lights don't really need any explanation as to what they are. The fact they exist at all, bringing a touch of magic into their day-to-day lives, is all they need to know.
It's a phenomena that's not explained, and so let's play that game. All I know is they're there.
Let's don't find out what they are. Let's just leave them a mystery.
I'm not going to try to solve it. I'm going to be content with ghosts and let the ghosts take care of them.
Right. See how sexy that stuff is?
Yeah,
So good. So they've been observed off of U.S. Route 67 on the Mitchell Flats east of Marfa, Texas. They've gained lots of fame as onlookers have attributed them to paranormal phenomena such as ghosts, UFOs, or will-o'-the-wisp. How do you come to that? To like, dude, it's a ghost. Dude, it's a UFO. They're like, no, it's the will-o'-the-wisp.
Yeah. Well, because... all right, so like these areas you imagine it's like Irish, Scottish, Polish, you know, like just everyone's just like, no, I've fucking seen that, you know, like there's everyone, and they're not. That's just how they sound in their head.
Sure.
They're just in their head like, my family's heritage. No, this is what I heard. They hear their great grandmother like, you know, no, it's Johnny the Longlegs, you know, like some shit, you know, and then no, it's the Will of the Wisp, you know, like these people just, you know, I'm just using this excuse to do funny voices.
Right.
I'm silly.
People like Stu.
People like Stu. Oh, here he is. Kenny Dumps, the pumpkin boy.
Hold on. Yeah. Kenny Dumps, the pumpkin boy. He lives at the pumpkin farm, and he goes on hay rides. He will give you a hot apple cider if it's cold out during these October days.
It just all clicked in my head who Kenny Dumps, the pumpkin boy is. He's just... Everyone loved me, you know. It's like, please, and he does all the voices and sings the songs, and he's got a funny dance, and he's just like, whoop,
to distract from the fact that you're a pumpkin-headed creature that's walking around this, you know, so people don't like. Wait a minute,
he's got gourd feet. He's got those gourd feet.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
he's the opposite of Harold.
The exact opposite of Harold.
Right. He's the good version.
Yes.
Yeah. Harold skins people.
Yeah.
Kenny Dumps, the pumpkin boy, just enjoys the fall season. Yeah. He's pure pumpkin spice and everything nice.
Everything nice.
Jacob.
He even gets like kind of like scared at like a Spirit Halloween. He's like, it's kind of spooky in here, guys. Don't
you want to go play some Snap Apple? Or
you know, we should be bobbing right now, guys. There's a cool hayride somewhere. I mean, we could probably.
Yeah. Did you pick your pumpkin this year yet? What kind of face you gonna put on it? We ain't gonna be doing this kind of crazy shit.
And then he's on like an actual, like he thinks it's not a haunted hayride, but it turns out, and he's like, why are all these clowns here?
Yeah.
Wait, why this guy got a chainsaw?
What do clowns have to do with Halloween?
Yeah, well, I don't understand.
Yeah, because you're just birthed from like 1865.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Whoa.
Reborn out of the ground in a pumpkin patch every year. Every year. Sorry, guys.
It's magical. But wait, we haven't heard from the fun police yet, aka scientific research, that suggests that some, if not all, are atmospheric reflections of automobile headlights and campfires. Then what about these initial sightings in the 1880s? There's no fucking automobiles in the 1880s.
They're all Model Ts.
No.
I know. That was like 19...
10?
10?
Something like that. I don't have my, you know, Blink-182 facts in front of me. Did you see a body? You okay? Clip that in here.
I see a body swinging. From a rope.
Okay. No explanation. Go listen to the back catalog. I'm not explaining it again. So this is another one, man, and my favorite here is that. So May 2004, right? A group from the Society of Physics students.
Oh God, these guys are
jag-offs.
It's physics jag.
At the University of Texas at Dallas, spent 4 days investigating and recording lights observed southwest of the View Park, using traffic volume monitoring equipment and all that shit.
And all that. Bullshit.
The report made the following conclusions. First of all, these guys are not cool at all. They wear very light blue jeans, all white New Balance, tucked in t-shirts.
Tucked in polos,
excuse me. And those
lanyards.
And those serial killer glasses?
Yeah, with lanyards.
Okay. Wait, cell phone holsters. Am I painting a picture here?
I see it.
Okay. So...
And they're all Dallas Cowboys fans. Sorry.
Sure.
I know you don't care.
It's not that I don't care. I don't have no frame of reference.
Well, it's Texas and Dallas. You mentioned Dallas, so I had to.
That's right. Philly hates Dallas.
Oh, with a passion. You're here now. You got to learn these things.
I am learning it. All I have to do is watch Rob's feed, and I'll know.
Yeah. Big Rob. There you go.
Okay, so their following conclusions were U.S. Highway 67 is visible from the Marfa Lights viewing location. Okay. The frequency of lights southwest of the view park correlates with the frequency of vehicle traffic on US 67. The motion of the observed lights was in a straight line corresponding to US 67. When the group parked a vehicle on US 67 and flashed its headlights, this was visible at the view park and appeared to be a Marfa light. A car passing the parked vehicle appeared as one of Marfa lights passing another at the view park. Okay. So they came to the conclusion that all the lights observed over a 4-night period southwest of the view park could be reliably attributed to automobile headlights traveling along US 67 between Marfa and Presidio, Texas. However, what about the previous ones, and who said that all the lights being seen are those?
Also, we're talking about that motion, right? Most of them have this, right? This up and down. Let's see if we can get my Marfa light going here. Most of them have this up and down.
What is that?
But you know what I'm saying?
Whoa. Is that a ghost light?
Wait.
Dude, your thumb. Is your thumb okay? How'd you do that? Oh, you're like a Frankenstein.
Yeah. But, anyway.
You're kind of freaking me out here.
Magic. Mind freak! No, anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, right. We used to do this thing
I have heartburn as soon as you did that.
We used to do this thing at the apartment where if, like, you couldn't find the remote, and, like, you found it, like, you were waiting, and you'd be like...
It's been under my ass.
Are you
this
ready?
entire
We would do
time.
that. Are you ready? And then we just go, Mom! Freaking pull the remote. It killed every time. It killed every time, dude. It was great.
Oh man,
Chris Angel, man.
I hate/miss that show at the same time.
Right, because it was always so fake and bad.
Yeah.
Like the one where he like escaped from thinking was like floating. You're like, guys, he's on a crane. This isn't a real audience. Come on, stop.
Well, we know that. It was just fun.
But people were like.
I don't know why, but I immediately think of Chris Angel and Pawn Stars at the same time.
You should.
I mean, I know they're both in Vegas, and I
Right,
get that, but
right.
there's just something very, like, bullshitty about the two.
Remember Hardcore Pawn?
Oh, yeah, the one in Detroit.
Where it was, like, so staged and
Yeah, it was
so
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
But you still watch it because you're like, look at this fucking train wreck. Of, like, they think they're selling it.
Yeah.
And, like, they think they're cool.
Yeah.
They think they're cool, Jay.
Just like us. We think we're cool.
I don't think anything. We're just here talking shit. I'm having a good time. I got my high lifes. I got my vape pen.
You got a new identity today?
Yeah, I got a new identity, guys.
Kenny Dumps the Pumpkin Boy.
Woo! It's it's tough. I got a lot of them too. I got a lot of aliases. This is one of my
Pumpkin
favorite
head's
ones.
like this big.
Well, it already is. You just got to go a little bit wider. Those Ghostbuster sunglasses I had on earlier. They're not making it. You know,
there's like stress fractures.
yeah, they're just like Jesus Christ. Put me back on your wife. Put me back on your wife, please. Because she wore them the other day. They're glasses. They're sunglasses.
All right, you're the one yelling it. I mean, it seemed intense. Maybe you're talking about something else. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
they were holding on like you're on the log flume.
Yeah, right. But where were we even going?
We're just talking about the lights.
Okay, so it would have to be like a hydraulic, lowrider if that's the motion we're getting.
So the Marfa lights are dudes and lowriders.
If we're considering them vehicles in that motion, especially coming down the roads from that far away, it's not going to have the appearance, especially if you're that far away. Is it coming directly at you? Or are you seeing it at that direct angle?
So no, you're seeing it in a distance.
Yeah, no, bullshit.
But they say, okay, so Marfa lights, they're like, the thing where my disconnect here, where I'm having a problem here, is that they're like, okay, well, it's just a highway. But what about every time they describe these lights, there's like a meandering kind of motion?
It would have to be.
But seriously, though, and then what about the previous claims in the 1860s,
right, when there
or
was
1880s?
no cars? Stagecoach? We talking stagecoaches? The
It
roads
doesn't
weren't
matter.
paved.
That road wasn't there.
Yeah, they weren't roads.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man.
Once again, it's someone like, look, we got to stop this bullshit they're talking about. Come up with something. Give me some science shit. Be like,
I actually have another ghost light story that just occurred to me. I just forgot about it. So my dad's father, he was cool.
I was doing what
Morpheus.
They do. Kung Fu. Oh, any kung fu movie they do that now.
Okay.
That's like the whole thing.
Do you have to
Yeah, you have to like.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a weird episode. Anyway, so my dad's father, he was a World War II vet, had like a million stories. One of those guys just had stories. You know what I'm saying? So they lived on a mountain in North Jersey, and so apparently this is a true story, and it ignited my imagination when I was a kid. So he said the first year that they moved in there, and they were clearing some brush, not a lot, because their house is like this, and the mountain is like this. It's like right on the mountain. So, and then it goes down on the other side.
They're
too,
almost like what are they called, homesteaders? Were they almost like that?
I mean, they were their first house ever built there.
So yeah.
So, and, I mean, it's a road, but it's a mountain road, and then like the house is like this, and the mountain is literally like this, and it goes up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, they saw lights one night. They thought there was somebody up on the property with flashlights. I mean, this is the early 70s.
The greatest climber in the world with a flashlight.
Well, you can walk it, but I mean, it's like a 45-degree angle to go up that mountain. And I did it myself when I was a kid. You have to do hands. You have to go on your hand, like on your hands and knees, like, to go up. Yeah, like LED butt plugs. I don't know.
Right? Did they exist then?
Not then. Anyway. So he saw a light coming down at one night.
This is a weird episode.
It is a weird episode. It's it's hot out. Dude, my brain got fried before.
I need this.
You got it. So he sees a light coming down one night, and he thinks that there's somebody walking up there, and they've guns everywhere. They're hunters, but also he was all right.
Yeah.
So that's why you just take the story with a grain of truth. So he goes with a grain of salt. So he goes up there the next day where he saw the light because he wanted to see who someone was fucking around. Once again, almost like a news story, was somebody up there because there's a park there where people camp. He thought some assholes wandered onto their property and thought that maybe somebody set up a campfire.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So the next day he goes up to where he thinks he pretty much saw, because he did line, he was like, okay, here's where I saw that's where it is. So he walks up there. Walks up there, doesn't see anything, and for some reason he decides to just reach down and look at the ground. He finds an Indian arrowhead, and he had it, and he showed it to me. He's like, this was up there. So this is after they moved out of the haunted house. This is the next house that they moved into. The haunted house was in Irvington, New Jersey, which is inner city.
Dude, is there of course you can't answer this question, but I'm starting to think that there's lineages of this stuff that it sticks with us or something, almost like how elephants, their kids know where to find the water.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say elephant graveyards, which is pretty fucking cool.
Sure. Yeah, because elephants, they
never forget.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But seriously, the offspring knows where the water is because they knew where the water was.
Yeah.
And is there some kind of connection to this stuff or ability, or is it just, passed on psychosis?
I mean, I'm sure passed on psychosis could explain some things in some situations, but I almost want to go with once you have somebody that's into it and you kind of spark the kid's imagination into it, they kind of do it and pass that on. Because then my dad and his dad tell me all this ghost shit. It definitely stuck.
Yeah.
It definitely kept me interested in it. But the Indian arrowhead, it was that I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But also that area is a historically significant area. Right next there is it's called Washington Rock State Park.
Right.
During the Revolution, Washington and his troops used to spy on the British from there, moving into, because you can see New York City from there. So, and they had, Native Americans were in their ranks.
Yeah.
So, and just that area was lousy with them.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's and us here, other Native podcasts also we don't fuck around with Native American shit podcast.
Nope.
That's the thing. It's all respect.
Oh yeah.
To that, and
no, there's my two things: Native Americans and slaves. Nope.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Those people have suffered enough.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm just
because of
shit.
The weight of the conversation. Yeah. And well, there you go. Oh man, dude. Let's even go back to our Mothman month, the first month that we were doing this, or the second month in November.
Yep.
The first initial, the bronze man who just flew up, that kind of stuff, and the
Chief Cornstalk,
all that stuff is you go, yeah, there must be something going on because of that, or because of all of that. There was so much.
Well, I think that also represents a mysterious aspect of any of this paranormal stuff, because it's they were the people who came before us here,
right?
And and they also have that whole being tied to the land and that whole mystical dimension to them. So it's you automatically think of that, and it's oh, there's an Native American burial ground here. Yeah, no thanks.
yeah, we're wired for like, whoa, there hasn't been a McDonald's here yet, you know? Like,
yeah,
that's how we are, you know. Like, it's just like, you know, we're so like into that.
Yeah,
we're so young as a culture and people. This our United States.
Yeah,
that it's like,
yeah.
Ugh, like we drag all our other countries' bullshit here, and then we forget about
sure
the stuff that was here. And we always talk about it with like a almost a flippant, like, you know, like, yeah, like
yeah.
Oh, that's just mumbo jumbo is the word, but in reality, it's like
it is. But when you're talking about it, but then when like you're sitting there alone somewhere or in the dark, and then like you encounter something like this, and you're just like, yeah, we said all this stuff, and here's all this data and the scientific data, but there it is. Now what?
Yeah.
You know, we've talked. I think we've talked about this theme a million times, where it's like, you have all this scientific stuff, you have your rational mind, you think about it, but then you'll have a paranormal experience, and you're like, yeah, but all this data still exists.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very hard to reconcile.
Yeah.
It's
well, and also because you have to take into account the fact that, like, it's like, you know, we weren't there. You know, we can't like say what it was, and it's also we have to go off descriptions of what people see, and we have to go off the descriptions of what these scientific minds are giving us, of what their data has given us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, how can we equate the two when we haven't visually seen, you know, both representations? But remember, I think it was in the sightings, the ghost report, that family's case out in the woods where their security cameras were getting those ghost lights. Remember those?
Right.
I'm sorry, that's good. That shit's good.
Yeah.
And there's a whole big story. We actually talked about this. We're gonna have to probably do an episode on this. But
or that Gettysburg video.
The Gettysburg video is just
is that top shelf?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's number one.
Is that God tier?
Bro, it definitely is, because I told you, like, it was summer break. I was like going into 9th grade, maybe even going into 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I had my laptop that I was recording my raps on. And like, I remember I was just searching the internet, and it was in the summer. Chris and Eddie and everyone were out doing fun stuff, and I was just like, nah, too hot. And I was in there, and there was this thing. It was like, subscribe now. I was probably going to 9th grade or something, because I actually had a debit card or something. And I was like, pay now and you'll get access to this video.
Yeah.
With this whole website of like all these things.
Yeah.
The only good thing I found on there was the Gettysburg one, because I saw it and I saw the clip.
Yeah.
And I tried to play it, and it was like, now you got to subscribe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, gotta, boom, $5 for the subscription. It was the first subscription I was a part of just to see that.
Yep. And that one still holds up, because I mentioned it in Ghost Lights because it kind of has that look, but after you've watched it a bunch of times, it's soldiers. You can see them, because there's the one part where you see arms swinging and legs. It's like, what?
Well, the gait and the movement. They're going uphill, but they're in trees.
Yeah, it's so nuts. It reminds me of like the Wild Hunt. That whole, you know, it does, like the soldiers or a hunting group. Just
from history, but also the Wild Hunt from The Witcher 3, which is
okay.
Sorry. Oh no, it's great.
Oh no, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, but so there are ghost lights and those kind of things and moving around.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
But like, it begs the question of like, what the fuck is going on around here?
I don't know.
But around here, I mean Earth. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's inexplicable, and that's why we're able to talk about it so much. So the next one we got coming up is literally known as the Spook Light, also known as the Hornet Spook Light, the Hollis Light, and the Joplin Spook Light. It's reported to appear in a small area known locally as the Devil's Promenade. They got all the names here.
Dude.
On the border between southwestern Missouri and northeastern Oklahoma.
Nice.
That's how it's done.
I know.
West of the small town of Hornet, Missouri. Even though it is named after a small unincorporated community in Missouri, it is most easy. That's how we're going with it. It's never Missouri.
It's Missouri.
Again. Yep. And is most easily reached from there. The light is most commonly described as being visible from inside the Oklahoma border looking to the west. The spook light is usually described as a single ball of light or a tight grouping of lights that is said to appear in the area regularly, usually at night. Although the description of the light is similar to that of other visual phenomena witnessed throughout the world, the term spook light, when standing alone, generally refers to this specific case. Numerous legends exist explaining the origin of the spook light, one of which involves the ghosts of two young Native American lovers looking for each other.
And you know what? I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe that legend.
Yeah, so according to most accounts, it has appeared continually since the late 19th century. All right, so once again, end of the 1800s. So, although it was generally not well known to anyone but locals until after World War II, which is interesting. Yeah. Some date the first encounters with the light back to the Trail of Tears in the 1830s. That's awful. You want ghost lights, that's how you get ghost lights. The first documented sighting is generally accepted to have occurred in 1881, although some report sightings as far back as 1866, and the earliest published reports date to 1936 in the Kansas City Star. So in 1946, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers studied the Hornet light, as it was called, but could not find a cause for it. In their words, it was a mysterious light of unknown origin. Early residents of the area reported seeing lights in the woods over their land or even in their yards. Yikes. During the 1960s, a general store in Hornet gave out information about the lights to sightseers. It included a spook light museum. Gotta love the ingenuity of the American businessman. Various establishments along the Missouri-Oklahoma state line have served a similar function, but have since closed. During the 1960s and 70s, the roads where the spook lights usually appeared were often packed with parked vehicles and people hoping to get a glimpse of the mysterious light. All right, so aficionados say that the best chances for spotting the light occur after dark when parked on Oklahoma East 50 Road, 4 miles south of the tri-state junction of Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma, in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Missouri. And looking to the west. One must sit very silently. Okay, that's interesting. Like if you're too fucked up, you're just not going to see it. Like if you're like, well, bro, doing Miller High Lifes,
carving an S into a tree.
Yeah, if you're like, I don't see any lights, but you know what I see? Sick.
Yeah, sick, bro.
Sick. The light has been seen in backyards of the area and has been spotted both near to and far away.
Yeah, rock and roll, Jay.
From sightseers. Its color is also inconsistent. Some eyewitnesses report a greenish glow, while others describe it as orange, red, yellow, or even blue. It is almost always said to be in the shape of a ball, although some say it more closely resembles a camping lantern traveling a couple feet off the ground.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
A couple feet off the ground. So,
here.
What I'm saying, if it's a man like you and I, that's going to be like...
Yeah, but why would you walk like this the whole time? Maybe he just has that down at his...
Right, no, I understand that. I just think this is kind of creepier. As opposed to some guy just like, oh, this fucking lantern.
He's tired. He's walking through the desert.
Sure.
Looking for his lost love. Or something. So, you ready for some explanations?
Bring them on.
All right, so explanation for the light's appearance vary widely from the extraordinary to the mundane. The area of Oklahoma in which the light is seen is very hilly and forested. Interstate 44 runs to the west where the light is seen. It has been suggested that the headlights of cars, once again, seen over the hills, explain the light's appearance, which is sometimes said to bob up and down, dance, or even split into multiple globules of light. What?
I understand globules. I do get that. I understand that.
Yeah, but they're talking about that from headlights.
Oh, okay, no.
In William Heat Moon's 2008 book, Roads to Quaz.
William Heat Moon?
Yeah, William Heat Moon. Maybe he's Native American. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a white name.
I don't think he chose it. Or maybe he did. Maybe he's like,
He's like the heat. I'm William Heat Moon. Come get this heat.
It probably worked well in the 70s by the time, and then it just... Yeah. Anyway, the author suggests that the lights seen at the end of E50 are explained perfectly by the fact that the road aligns directly with Route 66 across the interstate and the river valley, some 10 miles distant. He also claims that earlier sightings of the light from E40 road, 1 mile to the north, are explained by an earlier alignment of Route 66 to the north of the town, swamp gas from Venus bounced off a satellite, and...
Noisy cricket, that's it all.
Okay, so the author also suggests that there are no reliable sightings of the light in any location but directly west along the West Road, and therefore explainable by Route 66 connection. So he's saying that's a lot of reaching, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Most of this is because, look, it's reaching on the part of the people who go, here's where you go to see it. It's reaching on the part of the people where they go, okay, here's how we disprove it.
Yeah.
Because, once again, it's the fucking paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
There's in areas where it happens, most of everyone would have a better chance, even the people trying to scientifically disprove it go, we've been up and down this place, we haven't seen shit. And what we've seen, these are lights.
Yep.
We see these are lights, and the people that go, we've been up and down here are the lights that we
Yep.
see, and they're not cars. It would be better to just do it in that way instead of having that one control. Your control could kind of be, we pointed this camera in all these different directions of where we've been, and this is what we encountered. This one was a car light. This one we can't explain. This one's fireflies. I don't know. It's a lot of explaining away, and that's what the skeptic community loves to do.
I also kind of like here where they say that the light. Other explanations for the light's appearance include atmospheric gases being affected by electrical fields.
Sure, I'm more willing to go with that than car lights.
Yeah, because I feel like car lights would be like, oh, those are fucking car lights.
Yeah.
Like what? Where's the weirdness coming from?
But
You know
here's
what I'm
the
saying?
problem with the idea of the atmospheric and the gas. Where are all those videos? If it's scientific and it happens,
sure,
and we know, and we have data that proves
Sure.
that this is what make it happen, why can't we triangulate all of our scientific method of, what is it? Weatherman, fucking. What's the weatherman's job? Fucking
A meteorologist?
Meteorologist. Why can't we just take the meteorology? Sorry, I'm high life. I'm spinning out here. Let me have fun.
Right. Okay. Fucking hostility. Is this what you came here to do today? Is the bitch? I see a body hanging. That's all I know.
Anyway,
do you want me to put on "Brick" by Ben Folds 5? Will that help you?
No, that'll just make me slink over and.
She's up the stairs,
and I'm alone
to her
and we're
apartment.
alone, and we kill a baby.
Oh. Hey, they were young. They didn't want to ruin their lives.
She's a brick and I'm drowning. So
yeah. Off the coast and I'm heading nowhere.
Yeah, bro, like this episode. But no,
what was this episode about?
Yeah, this
fucking goblins.
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing? But no, what I'm saying is, like, all right, like, so let's say their scientific method here is we go, all right, we aim it at this road, right? We aim it at this road and we go, car lights every time in all these different locations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their scientific method also, they go, oh, here's another one. They go,
yeah,
weather, and this is just combustion of gases and atmospheric pressures and electric and God bless you, and like they go, okay, all right, so if that's the case, if you know the science of that, why can't you replicate that science and give us a video?
Apparently that's what they've done in some of these studies.
Where are the videos?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're nowhere because it's bullshit. They're just explaining shit away.
You think it was an inside job? I'm just asking.
No, I think it's, once again, they go,
Hold on. Ghost lights equals Illuminati confirmed. Right? You said triangulate, so I'm thinking the triangle and I'm thinking the eye.
Are you thinking that I'm a part of this now because I said triangulate?
I think you're here to just.
And I did this earlier. I did that earlier.
I saw it.
Which means okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of things of what that means that are swirling around the.
Isn't
internet.
this? Watch out for that.
Well, get on your necklace. You're fine, Mom.
She wears one of those?
The Molex. My mom wears Molex. Oh, you talked about this.
I don't know if she still had one on.
Oh, God, yeah, dude. She wore her one necklace. Got the Molex. What are you talking about? My mom.
I didn't know she still wore one.
Oh, come on. It's my mom.
All right. Jesus.
She's out there like, I'm getting somebody a house. I need to. There's people sending curses.
Did you ever see the one? They're those really old. They're actually really cool looking. They're it's got the Italian horn, but then on top it has like a devil looking guy, and he's holding like a horseshoe, and he has a top hat. It's a very specific one.
No, we're not into the Italian voodoo. I didn't grow up in the Italian voodoo.
Yeah,
no.
It's weird.
This is where we get
Sicilian specifically. Apparently.
Oh, well, we're part Sigi. We're mostly Calabrian. Yeah, we're Calabrian, Sicilian. Dude, we're mutts.
Okay,
we're mutts. But what I'm saying is, rewind. Anyway, what I'm saying is the science of them trying to explain the science of going. Here's a good explanation. Atmospheric pressures and electricity mixing with gases causing this luminescent effect.
Yeah. I can get with that, but then at the same time...
Replicate it. Show me it.
Yeah, I can... Sure, and maybe it has to have such specific conditions that maybe it's hard for it to happen, and they're just really just
Well,
they're trying to be.
Then it's paranormal.
It might as well be because it's so random and so weird.
Sure.
It may as well be paranormal.
Sure.
And I think that that's okay to say that it is. There are unexplainable phenomena, or as of yet unexplained phenomenon, and I think that's okay.
Sure.
You know? But why do these things happen in these weird, spooky locations? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where all this crazy shit is
Why
died,
does this
yeah.
lonely trek of train track? Why does this stretch of it just randomly have this light that bobs up and down the length of it? That's fucking scary.
Because cars on the roads that
No, man.
No. I know, no, man. I know, and that's why I was saying, all right, give me the video of those cars.
Yeah.
And show all the people that have seen them go. Is this what you saw?
Oh, I've seen. So there's that sightings clip that they talk about one of these, and like they show you what they're talking about. It's like, that's not what I'm seeing here. That's the road over there, and they're saying the lights are over here. Those are not. Those are too. Well, there's a mirage effect because the heat of like, yeah, dude, but like these people are not seeing that. Like I see what they're trying to say, but it's like that. It's not what they're describing though. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I understand. Like, so there's people that their religion is science, right? And science is ever changing.
Yeah.
So even when they go, I could latch onto this passage, that it's over here, that it's like, no, the mirage effect is the counterbalance to this point that'll send me over here to make me help to explain this away. And it's like, maybe it's just something you guys haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Why not just say that?
They're hired to do a job, so they have to try to find something.
Exactly, even if it's bullshit.
Well,
a lot of times it is.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
The ghost light thing.
They're trying to find something. For them, it's not going to be fucking ghosts. So they have to find the closest thing that they can use as an explanation.
Right. I'm not saying it's ghosts. What I'm
Are you saying that they're dogmatic scientists?
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying is happening here?
It could be. I'm saying that they're grasping at whatever they can to go, you need an answer, here it is. And then a lot of times you go, no.
Okay, and it's a theory.
Are we fighting right now?
No, but I got a little twinge of anti-science.
No. What I'm saying is science is always changing. Yeah. And in the times, them going, oh, this mirage effect could be this related to that.
I think this is just a presented explanation.
Sure.
This is what they found. Here are our findings. Here they are. Do I think it adequately explains it? No, and I don't think they do either. But they think here's our findings. Here's what we found, and from here we're drawing this conclusion.
Right. It just pisses me off at times when it's like, can you just say that we haven't figured out what this is yet? You know what I mean? As opposed to going,
well, yeah. I mean,
here's my paid conclusion.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody in any field, if they're considered a professional, wants to come to at the end. They've been hired to do something and be like, yeah, I got nothing.
as our patron saint of our mascot said, one of the last things he said on the Queen Mary explaining it.
Yeah.
To the skeptic.
Yeah.
No explanation is ever going to be good enough, and to the believer, no explanation is needed. And with that, I leave you. Okay. But in the same breath, see, I'm a skeptic and a believer.
Sure.
I just want some kind of middle ground of like, we don't know this yet.
Yeah.
It's not just like...
No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Sorry if I yelled. I didn't mean to.
You didn't yell at all. We're good to go. I mean, hey, but there's definitely a pattern here, and you're right. I mean, there's definitely people who are like, oh, here's this thing. We already talked about this already, you fucks, and it's this. Yeah. It's fucking headlights.
Yeah.
So I got one more of these that I want to go over, and this one it also appeared on Unsolved Mysteries. This is the St. Louis light. Oh, so good. Also known as the St. Louis Ghost Light or St. Louis Ghost Train.
Spectral locomotive.
Rocket pet. It's so good. Dude, isn't that the greatest idea? Like, there used to be, like...
Yes.
There used to be train tracks that went through somewhere, but, like, every once in a while, a train will just go by.
Yeah. And Winston's there, like...
Yeah. So good.
They had to bring that in the sequel because of that cut from the first one.
Well, yeah, but also the second one's literally supposed to be about the history of New York.
I know,
so that's why they also bring in the pneumatic transit, which is a real thing.
For me, that's
and then the Titanic.
That's what I'm just going with, is because, like, I love that. My grandfather used to spinning hard. That's like you said. That's the idea. That idea is like the romance for me. Like that. Still, when I need something, I just think about that kind of.
Dude, it's great, man. It's comfort food. I gotcha. Dude,
yeah.
This is our comfort food.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going back to the St. Louis light, or St. Louis. Saint Louis. Awful. Right. It's near St. Louis, Saskatchewan, Canada. So it is Saint Louis.
Yeah,
I'm going with St. Louis. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. It has been described by witnesses as a huge beam of white light, different, reminiscent of a headlight of an old-fashioned train. I like this one. The phenomenon has been featured on the television series Unsolved Mysteries and entails a strange light moving up and down along an old abandoned rail line at night, changing colors and varying in brightness. Dude, I love this. The line located south of Prince Albert and north of St. Louis
I'm a child.
Has had its tracks removed, but the phenomenon still occurs on a regular basis. Dude, I love this.
Yeah.
Several stories attempt to explain the lights, including that it is a ghost train or the ghost of a drunk brakeman who lost his head to a passing train. Yep. The guys who changed the... Yep. And now wanders up and down the tracks with a lantern attempting to find it. Same thing, the hooker man. It's the same kind of thing. There's something about train tracks. All that moving and all that. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the rubbing of the jeans.
It's okay. Do another bump. You need another bump.
It's going to be one of these nights.
It is. In 2014, Canada Post issued a stamp depicting the St. Louis ghost train on a series of 5 depicting Canadian ghost tales. Why don't we have that?
I don't know.
God damn it. 2 12th grade students from Laurent, Saskatchewan. I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing here. Won science fair gold medals for investigating and eventually duplicating the phenomenon, which they determined to be caused by the diffraction of distant vehicle lights. However, the light has been reported before the advent of cars. Here we are again.
The meme of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love this one because, okay.
They want a science fair, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
Science fair.
I'm just there's a disconnect here because I watched a bunch of Ghostlight videos on this, and I was watching the thing where they're showing the explanation. I'm like, you're showing me not what they're reporting. I'm like, so I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is interesting, but it's not what they're describing. There's no way refracted fucking headlights looks like the look. Okay, imagine the train is there, but it's invisible. All you see is the light. How do you what?
So what they can do, as far as I'm concerned, is those cute little the little warties they got at the science fair.
Oh, okay.
They can take them and they can shove them deeply in each other's assholes.
Oh, interesting.
As far as I'm concerned, because you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're pandering. They go, we'll win this science fair. Car headlights. They go, and here's why. And they just regurgitate the same bullshit from Abraham von Bullshit back in fucking, 1972. Giving us, his explanation of... That's a weird episode.
It is a weird episode, but it's Ghostlights, baby.
Yeah. That's the thing. Well, I've come untethered and my rage knows no bounds when it comes to this. Because, listen... The idea of, we're talking about something that is the unexplainable, right? In its purest form, right? Yeah. This is one of the oldest things, right? One of the oldest kind of concepts of the paranormal. And, to easily explain it away as car headlights when it goes back so far, it's asinine to me.
Yeah.
It really is. And I know I'm amped up. But you know what? Sometimes I gotta be.
That's all good.
In the opposite way, not freaked out.
Oh, yeah.
In favor.
Yeah.
You're
gonna like this one. All right. The last one. This is the Mako light, not the shark. There's no sharks involved. Was MACO was supposedly an anonymous light or ghost light, occasionally seen between the late 19th century and then until 1977, along a section of railroad track near the unincorporated community of Mako Station, North Carolina. Said to resemble the glow from a railroad lantern, the light was associated with a folk tale describing a fatal accident, which may have inspired tales of a similar type around the country. The light was never formally explained, but often thought to be the result of marsh gas from nearby swamps or the refraction of lights from a highway.
So right from Men in Black,
Yeah.
Or Men in Black took it right from there.
Yeah. So the legend is the tale associated with the light with Joe Baldwin, a train conductor who was said to have been decapitated in a collision between a runaway passenger car or caboose and a locomotive at Mako along the Wilmington and Manchester Railroad in the late 1800s. According to the most common version of the legend, Joe Baldwin was in the rear car of the Wilmington-bound train on a rainy night in 1867. As the train neared Mako, Baldwin realized the car had become detached from the rest of the train. He knew another train was following, so he ran to the rear platform and frantically waved a lantern to signal the oncoming train. The engineer failed to see the stranded railroad car in time, and Baldwin was decapitated in the collision. Some variants of the story added that Baldwin's head was never found.
Yeah.
So shortly after the accident, residents of Mako and railroad employees reported sightings of a white light along a section of railroad track through swamps west of Mako Station, and word spread that Joe Baldwin had returned to search for his missing head. The light was said to appear in the distance before approaching along the tracks facing east, bobbing at a height of about 5 feet, and either flying to the side of the track in an arc or receding from the viewer. That's interesting. Like he got hit and it went, oh.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of cool, like reenacting his death.
Yeah.
Other reports spoke of a green or red lights or other patterns of movement. The earliest stories supposedly date from the early 1870s and until the 1886 Charleston earthquake. 2 lights were often reported. Railroad employees said that the trains had occasionally been stopped or delayed due to the activities of the light, which had been even been seen from locomotive cabs. The journal Railroad Telegrapher, for example, reported in 1946 that the light had been seen on March 3rd that year and suggested it had been appearing for some 70 years previously. Once commonly cited aspect of the legend that the light was discussed with President Cleveland when his train was stopped in Mako in 1889. Seems to have originated with Atlantic Coast Line employee B.M. Jones, who claimed to have been present at the visit as a young child. Another early account of the Joe Baldwin legend was given by Robert Scott, editor of the Atlantic Coast Line News, to Journal Railway Age in 1932. Similar headless brakeman stories have been found associated with other ghost lights in the United States, such as the Bragg Road Ghost Light, the Gurdon Light, and the Hookerman Light. From a folklore perspective, the story connected with the Mako Light being substantially the oldest and best known and having received some national coverage may have served as the point of origin for the others.
So, scientifically explaining why there were cars on the train?
I don't know, man. There's more stuff that we can like wade through here with it, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like three of which are all people that work on the railroad, right? And it literally it all comes back to that that kind of idea of someone dying or being gruesomely injured on a train track.
I like this. There's still modern sightings. So a 1972 article in Wilmington Star News argued that most investigators had believed that light was traceable to refraction from car headlights on a nearby highway. Reprinting a 1950 long exposure photograph of the light, the newspaper stated that a bend on the highway was the cause of the phenomenon, noting both the amber and red lights had been seen close to the main light when viewed through a telescope. Okay, so
everyone's got a telescope out there.
I guess, refuting the stories of some locals who claimed that the light had still appeared while the highway was closed for a period during World War II. They were still seeing them when the highway was closed. The Star News researcher noted that through a thorough check of archives 20 years earlier to verify this part of the tale, had failed to reveal any evidence of such a closure taking place. Okay. The newspaper was a scene of a good deal of discussion on the subject, with one resident writing that the Mako Light is what the news says it is. All the Mako Light is now is just a lover's lane and a place to start a lot of trouble. Okay. However, the light retained some supporters in the mid-1970s. A reporter from the Robisonian, was eventually after several failed attempts to see the light, which he finally did, and he described as chilling and resembling the light thrown from a kerosene lantern as seen from a distance of about 50 feet. Okay, that's awesome. Primarily white light was an ever so little, with a little bit of a reddish tint. It tended to travel down the center of the track, swinging to and fro with slight vertical undulations. Dude, that's... and it's just to wrap up here a little bit. Author Bland Simpson, interviewed on North Carolina Public Radio in 2005, called the Mako Light one of his favorite North Carolina legends, describing his own setting of it as like a match, the light in a kerosene lantern. What the source of it was, I'll never know. Sightings of the light ended when the railroad removed the track in 1977, and a trestle bridge related to the legend was destroyed. A street nearby in a nearby subdivision bears the name Joe Baldwin Drive.
I mean, yeah,
It's interesting that when they pull up the track and it stops, like there's something to do with that wood and the wood and the metal. Like,
absolutely, it's two elements vibrating. I mean, like what, like
just those fast, heavy, steam-powered machines with all those people on them going back and forth.
Look,
well, not back and forth.
The thing that pisses me off about it was why I got so amped up. It's just like sometimes, you know, it's like you don't need an explanation for some of this stuff to happen.
Sometimes shit goes down, and who are you gonna call?
Yeah. But like. Everything wants to be explained away, and it pisses me off. Like because I even said earlier in other ones, like I get so angry when they're like when people add stories to stuff that don't have stories, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I'm like, okay, this is the cause of this woman hanging herself in this thing at whatever sanatorium we're talking about at the time. But it's like, look, this one, there are some stories linked to it, but a lot of times it's like this is just an occurrence, and you can't just say. And they go, oh, it's car lights, headlights. And it seems like they just go back to the earliest explanation of the earliest one.
Yeah, well, this has been explained, so I'm not even gonna look
and they
into
just go,
it.
you know what it is?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 guesses. Guess what it is? And then, oh, wait. Headlights, and it's like, no, they look different. They sound different. And people are reporting them at different times. Like, what are we supposed to do here? Just go, everything is car headlights? You know, it's all car headlights?
Yeah.
And they don't move or act like car headlights. It's just that you found something, you go, oh, there's a headlight, that's what it is, it's headlight.
Also, this reminds me of with the railroad stuff. It's just 2 seasons ago of Love, Death, and Robots. There's an episode.
I didn't even watch them yet.
Oh my god, there's an episode called The Tall Grass. Just watch it. It's like 10 minutes long. So good.
Exploding asshole.
Yeah. That's a heart. My kids tell me this is a heart.
That's a heart?
Yeah, that's the new thing.
Okay.
Something to do with some Korean boy band.
BTW or
BTK?
whatever. BT.
Is it BTK? Is that something else?
I think it might be something else.
The band is not called Bind, Torture, Kill?
No, I don't think so. You know what?
BK Kids Club? What are they called?
Maybe I'd listen if it was that. Maybe I'd be like, oh, wait. Maybe these guys are up to something.
Wait a minute. Lead singer Dennis Rader. Okay.
Yeah. BTK testifies in court.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
Yeah, let's check this out.
Would have appeared on season 3 of Mindhunter if it hadn't been canceled.
Dude.
I know. They were ramping up.
Oh.
I know. Hopefully it finds a home somewhere else.
Yeah, hopefully. But there was one thing they were doing there that was pissing me off.
What's that?
What's his name? The older dude from Fight Club?
Yeah.
His son.
Yeah.
That whole thing, I was just like...
Well, they have to give more... They need story arcs.
Right,
and they
but
have
like
to,
that story arc was just like, oh, conveniently, this guy... Like, it was just like, come on, all right. You could have did something better. Maybe a neighbor.
They have to have more... There has to be more human interest stuff that shows you why his life is turbulent.
But
I get why it's
been,
in there.
But I'm saying, it could have been not just his son. That was low-hanging fruit, I felt. Anyway.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, let's not go into that.
I get you. Well, ghost lights, man. This is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite topics because, but they're so fucking spooky.
Right, and
it's like being out somewhere and there's just a light. It's like, what the fuck is that?
That's why I'm so like almost overly protective about it, because it's one of those things that it doesn't need an explanation, man. You don't need to explain it away with headlights, because it's not. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone.
Yeah.
But like
maybe it is. Maybe it's ghostly headlights. You know what I'm saying?
The way it moves, the way they're described, the way that the times from then till now, the way they're described, and the way people say it, bruh, bleh. Don't do that. Don't over-explain something that is just, it is.
Yeah.
Just say, we don't know what it is, we'll figure it out later. We'll try to get it.
Yeah.
Maybe we set up cameras that aren't aimed at a highway.
Yeah.
Maybe we set up cameras in this one, like the house in the security cameras.
Yep.
Because they had all that crazy shit going on, and they got some shit that was unexplainable.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something to it. For them to be everywhere, and then it's just very annoying that everyone is just like, well, I think there was one team that probably was like, oh, we found that it was headlights.
Yeah.
And then they just used it. They're like, well,
Right.
this team already found that it's this, so let's go there. Okay, yeah, it's headlights.
Like I said, from even the beginning, that was the thing. There was the headlights. So they were just like, easy explanation. We'll win the science fair.
Yep.
We'll use their documents. We'll reword it.
Yep.
We'll just do what we did in high school. We'll take it. We'll put it up here. And then we'll retype it, just reword it.
Yeah.
We'll win the science fair.
Again.
I don't know, but I guess my closing statements on it is sometimes let it be, man.
Hey, I'm good with it, and I'm okay with people trying to explain it, and I get it because everyone wants an answer.
Give it a different one. Don't just give me headlights.
I get it. It's all what it is, but literally one of my favorites.
It's definitely an awesome topic, and sorry I raged out, guys, a little bit.
They know you by now,
right? Yeah, they do. So. But all right, so for this episode of Other Dangerous Podcast, I'm Ken James.
And I'm Jason McGidrick.
And as always, have a spooky evening. Thank you for listening to Other Dangerous Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerouspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangerous Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.